Hello there. Oh, hey, look at that, a negative video from Spearhead. Who saw that one coming? No, but seriously. Recently, I've hopefully been giving up some positive vibes with my latest content. But now I've officially hit my positivity quota and I want to talk about some not so positive things. Things that have always kind of bothered me about Halo, and that's not to say that I'm going to be harsh or truly negative. Let's get something constructive out of this at least. But opinions are like assholes. I have one, this guy has one, this guy is one. The point is that we might not agree on some things and that is fine. So without further delay, let's get negative. I am incredibly stressed. Number 1. Halo 3's campaign. Halo 3 came around at some of the best years of my life. In fact, Halo 3 was my life during that period. Halo 3 was the first game that I played on Xbox Live. Halo 3 was used for my first attempt at content creation. We won't talk about that.
You are under arrest. Shit.
But most of all, Halo 3 was advertised with Finish the Fight. This was the end of the journey that I and many others had started back in 2001. It was Finish the Fight, and this, pardon the wording, legendary piece of marketing. The stage was set, Earth was in danger, the Flood were loose, the charismatic Prophet of Truth was going to activate the rings. And then Halo 3 launched, and well, the story was good enough. It was a very good ending to the trilogy if you ask me, but that's not what I disliked about it. What I disliked was the sudden tone change. I don't know if I'm the only one who felt it, and I cannot imagine that I was, but let me explain for those of you who don't feel the same. Halo 2 set up a dual story. We had the Master Chief, and we had the Arbiter. Both of these characters helped expand their respective worlds. We got to see more of the military aspect from Chief, and more of the politics behind the Covenant from the Arbiter, and in my opinion, it set up a golden era for the lore, especially for the Covenant. As far as I know, people were not happy about the story being split up between Chief and the Arbiter, but in my opinion, it strengthened the story so much. The combination of these two worlds gave us some serious context and helped us explore the ideals of the Covenant and those quiet moments of discussions with the Prophets where we could take a breather from the action and learn more about the universe. And in storytelling, those quiet moments are important. If the story had simply been another Master Chief shoots at the bad guys, we'd have never had those moments with the Prophets. And that's another thing. The Prophet of Truth in Halo 2 was this charismatic overlord of the Covenant, and even though he was physically frail, you knew that this person was incredibly dangerous. He could even be considered one of the central, if not main, antagonist of the original Halo trilogy, since it was Truth who oversaw the attempted genocide of humanity. That being said, when Halo 3 released, the story felt a bit more compact. There was no time for the more subtle parts of the story. In some ways, I get that it was probably due to us being on a race against time to stop Truth and deal with the Flood, but I feel like we could have had some more slower moments in the story. Additionally, Truth went through a slight change in character between games. I can't tell if Truth was naturally unstable the whole time and just very good at keeping it covered, or if he was always reckless. Because in Halo 2, he seemed like this suave, cold, calculated, and dangerous villain, but by the end of Halo 3, he was more of a Saturday morning cartoon villain with a cough. That's just my opinion though. By no means was Halo 3's story poorly done or thought out. As I said, I think it was a very satisfying conclusion to the original trilogy. But I did hate how we went from this very detailed storyline to something that felt a bit more compressed and rushed. Number 2. The reliance on external media. Books are good. I love books. I've read almost every Halo book with the exception of Halo Primordium, which I listened to as an audiobook. And really quickly, I heavily recommend that audiobook in particular because the narrator reading it is actually Tim Dodabo, the voice of Guilty Spark, and since the book is centered around the Forerunner time period, you do get to hear Tim lend his voice to Spark as well. But I digress. I've always enjoyed a good Halo story, and the books are a great way to tell one that you just couldn't fit into a game, and Halo seemed to strike a neat balance between the games and the books where they felt like additions to the universe and not requirements. However, in recent years, I want to say unfortunately starting with 343's tenure, sorry 343, the stories being told in the books were becoming more and more integral to the stories being told in the games. Take the Forerunner trilogy by Greg Bear, for example. Some aspects of those stories are incredibly important to understanding who the Didact is, why he hates humanity, and helping to express that he's a damaged and flawed individual that may not be the most stable, despite how eloquent and articulate he seems to be in Halo 4. Those books help explain key elements of the character and reference things to help people understand what the hell was going on in Halo 4. Who the hell is this guy? What the hell are these things? What the hell did she just do to Chief? And then at the end of Halo 4's Spartan Ops, Catherine Halsey is kidnapped by Julam Dharma, apparently wanting revenge on the UNSC for her mistreatment. The Janus Key is a huge plot point to reveal the location of every Forerunner planet and installation, and all in all, it seems a bit grim. And if you didn't read the Halo Escalation comics, you'd be a bit lost as to why some of the established plot points were gone. The point is that there's a disconnect between those games that needs to be resolved by reading external media. Can you play through Halo 4 and 5 without reading those pieces of fiction? Yes. Yes, of course you can. But your understanding of character motivation, previous events, or even basic context behind some moments is vastly inferior. And if there was ever a moment in Halo 4, 5, or even the previous games that made you go, huh, what? Then that aspect of the story has failed to properly inform you due to a silly reliance on media that you may not have an interest in. In my opinion, keep the external media, but leave plot points going into the main story alone and focus on more obscure portions of the overall story. To understand the build-up to Halo 5 and get the definitive story experience that 343 wanted you to get, you needed to watch the cinematics from Halo 2 Anniversary revealing Locke as a Spartan, watch the Fall of Reach animated series, read New Blood, read most if not all of Halo Escalation, read Hunters in the Dark, watch the live-action Nightfall series, listen to the Hunt the Truth podcast as well as read through all those snippets of information on the Hunt the Truth Tumblr page, read Last Light, and watch the hero or traitor marketing material for Halo 5. And fun fact, you can't watch that material on YouTube through official Xbox channels anymore because it was removed, presumably because of the reception of Halo 5 being described as misleading. It's excessive. Number 3. Emblems. This is a small gripe, but it's always been one that I disliked. Why have we never been given a real emblem editor? Halo seems like the perfect franchise for it, and yes, I realize that other games out there have these features and that they're exploited to make dirty or offensive images, but couldn't we just add a report emblem button and have that go through whatever enforcement team is necessary? I like to think of these things in the sense of them being optional. For example, have the original emblems in the game, but they can be chopped up and edited to look more original and unique. People could make some amazing artwork, and who knows, some of those contributions could be rewarded by becoming official emblems, or 343 favorite emblems. Reward players for creating original and good artworks using the game, kinda like unlocking the Fire Unicorn skin in Halo 5. There isn't much else that I can say about this. Halo 5 had a bad emblem system in my opinion, and everything before that was fine for the time, but I feel like in 2020, it's right for us to break past traditional emblems and get something truly unique. If it can be done, of course. Number 4. No True Spartan. This isn't something wrong with Halo specifically, it's more to do with the community, and obviously all game communities have this type of behaviour, but most of my content revolves around Halo, and that's the place where I see this behaviour more commonly. Imagine that you're having a constructive conversation with somebody and you were to say, I preferred Halo Reach's multiplayer to Halo 3's multiplayer. That's your opinion. And then some guy interrupts you with, well, no true Halo fan would think that. As if it's written in stone that Game A was the greatest in the world and Game B is garbage as a matter of fact. Yes, we can argue statistics, numbers, life cycles, and anything else you want to shove in there to validate your opinion, but after you said all of that stuff, have you really changed the guy's opinion, or does he still think that Reach had better multiplayer? What I'm saying is, we've all got opinions and some of them might not match up to each other's, but god damn, it is so obnoxious when some little twerp chimes in with, oh, so you're not a true Halo fan, just because your opinion is slightly different to theirs. Again, you get this kind of behavior in all communities. It isn't exclusive to Halo, but by this point, I would have hoped that these people would have grown out of saying such tripe. Number 5. Sarah Palmer. There's part of me that wanted to end this video here and just make a joke about Sarah Palmer, because I don't hate her character as much as I think that she's largely unnecessary. I haven't tried writing professionally, and I can't exactly comment on what her character is supposed to be. For many people, the first time they were introduced to Sarah Palmer in this cutscene seems to be the reason for their distaste of her. And I get it, she's this random Spartan that shows up and cheekily jabs at the Chief. Looking back, I'm sure that's all it really was. It was just a playful and cheeky jab with no disrespect intended. My issue with Palmer isn't like the standard complaints that I've seen online. It's nothing to do with her being abrasive or cheeky. It's not that she gets too much or too little screen time, or even that she's voiced poorly. In fact, I love her voice actress. She's amazing. It's that by and large, to the Halo 4 main story, she's completely unnecessary. She served no real purpose in the cinematics, and every piece of her dialogue over the comms as missions progress could have been done by just just about anybody else. It could have been Lasky, it could have been Del Rio, it could have even just been Cortana. But she just stood there for the most part. Though I will say that I definitely preferred her in Halo 5 because she was more than just a living set piece. She got involved in the action, and it was good to see her get some screen time to show off that she's actually pretty badass. But in Halo 4? I'm sorry, she just seemed like wasted potential, and I hated that. But that's all I got for now. There's plenty of other things that I dislike about Halo, or things that revolve around Halo, I guess, but honestly, I'm really happy with how things are progressing right now for the Halo universe. As usual, I am always interested in reading your take on things, so please be sure to leave a comment giving me your opinion, or just tell me something that you hate or dislike about Halo. Please try and be constructive though, guys. Come on. Come on. Hello there, hello there, hello there, hello there, hello there. Hello there, hello there, hello there, hello there, hello there. Hello there, hello there, hello there, hello there, hello there. Hello there, hello there, hello there, hello there, hello there. Hello.